6 on the capacity building and the budget.
Building, not about
S'il vous plaît.
the budget.
Please. We are on paragraph 3. And there was an amendment to include a recommendation on financing. So we're not yet on 5. I was saying that we are still on paragraph 3 and subparagraph 3A. That is an amendment to paragraph 3 to include a paragraph on the funding or the financing. And then, well, we'll give you the floor when we will be on 4 and 5. So, do you agree? No, sir. I was saying that paragraphs 4, 5, 6, they all deal with capacity building and not budget. I don't see anything said in these paragraphs about the budget. This is what I'm saying.
Oui, effectivement.
Indeed, dear colleague. There is no reference here to financing, but when we adopt a communiqué with recommendations, we can include a new recommendation. And this is what we are trying to do. We are debating on the relevance of such a recommendation on the funding of the Pan-African Parliament, and then try to draft and find a wording to this recommendation. This is what I'm trying to do. Thank you. And then I'll give you the floor back when we come to paragraph 5 and 6. Thank you. Let me suggest a wording. First, basically, the most important thing is that the President of the Pan-African Parliament will have to reflect on the practical modalities that would encourage our national parliaments to contribute further. Maybe it is about defining something clear, and there might be parliaments that have more funds available. And since we all agree that we need to have to take on board the two proposals, we might say, invite the Assembly to realign the budget of the Pan-African Parliament and urge the national parliaments to contribute further at the financial level. Sorry. I thank you. Now we move on to paragraph 4. Any amendment on paragraph 4? You have the floor.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Chairman. We have extensively debated on the budgets and activities of PAP. And when we look at point 4, as it is drafted, it might raise the problems of financing again. When we say strengthen regional parliaments, how can we strengthen them? Is it through training the staff, the parliamentarians, etc.? So we suggest, therefore, that this paragraph be reworded as follows: to encourage regional parliaments to endeavor in order to promote regional integration for the attainment of a continental parliament with full legislative powers. This is the proposal we would like to table. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Any objection? Instead of strengthen regional parliaments as a way of enhancing, the colleague is wondering how these regional parliaments are going to be strengthened. Therefore, he suggests a new wording, that is, to encourage regional parliaments to endeavor and or to make sure that, etc. Any objections? Zimbabwe, have the floor.
Chair, I'm not objecting at all. I think there's some improvement from the previous speaker. What is not being captured in this paragraph, Chair, is the issue we raised yesterday, that is Zambia and Zimbabwe. We have a missing regional parliament, which is SADC. SADC PF has not transformed into a regional parliament. So how do we capture that missing link of the 5th regional parliament, which is not there at the moment?
Qui a été posée par rapport à SADC.
There's a question asked regarding SADC, so are you going to react to this? Yes, Mr. Kodo? Mr. Chairman, if there is no parliament in place in SADC, we can continue with the one that does exist. I did invite the clerk or the Secretary General of SADC, with whom we had long discussions, and it appears that SADC wishes to put in place a regional assembly. I don't know whether this has been done already, but if it does not exist, let's continue to work with what exists already. This is, I think, the answer that I have to provide, because some asked me, why haven't you invited SADC? And I said, I did invite the Secretary General of SADC, and I didn't have any answer. It might be because there is no regional assembly of SADC. So I think that we can work with the existing regional parliaments. Thank you.
À cette question, la Zambie.
Zambia, you have the floor.
With due respect to the President, I have a different view. Here we are from SADC, and we are involved in PAP. And we are seated here talking about strengthening regional parliaments. And one bloc with 14 countries has no regional parliaments. I think we need to say something about it. I think it's a missing link. There's a gap. There's a gap. And I think yesterday we were informed by the Speaker for the East African Legislative Assembly. And he acknowledges, and in line with this very close, regional parliament should be building blocks for PAP. PAP should be founded on regional parliaments. But here is a missing link. What do we do about it? Do we give it a blind eye? I think not.
Parole, mais
Well, I think that the president of PAP did invite parliaments that exists already, legally speaking. The regional parliaments, as well the parliaments of the African countries that are member of the African Union, obviously. So the question is whether it is relevant to urge the member states of SADC whose parliaments are here to expedite the implementation of or the creation of a parliament within SADC? This is the question. Is it relevant at this point, at this level, to make such a request? And the answer has been given. And while recognizing and admitting that the parliaments in each sub-regions should be the pillars, it behoves to the member states of each group to decide. If we consider that we need to make a request or to urge these member states, we will have recommendations. But do you think it is a good thing? It is an appropriate thing to do so? Since this region is very well organized and they have their own pace of working. This is the question. You have the floor. Mr. Chairman, I would like to have this paragraph 4 improved, please, and suggest to strengthen the prerogatives of regional parliaments in order to promote regional integration towards the attainment of a continental parliament with full legislative powers. Strengthen the prerogatives of regional parliaments in order to promote regional integration towards the attainment of a continental parliament with full legislative powers. Thank you. Okay, let's first have the reactions about this first point, about SADC. Mr. Chairman, I wanted to step in to contribute, to make a contribution. I might not resolve the problem of SADC. We do need SADC as a parliament. And it will be the pillar as the others. And the Constitutive Act of the African Union says that we need to work with all the sub-regional parliamentarian fora. And as it was said by the Speaker of Zambia, there is an imbalance that we cannot count or rely on 14 countries. And what I would like to suggest, as you said, we cannot say to the region, please put in place a regional parliament, but we could wish to have it, to have this parliament. And I